Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really unpack the stories behind the scores. Today, we're going beyond just the headlines. We're digging deep into the tactics, the drama, everything from the COPACCHAI Super July, focusing on those South Challenge Cup finals.
Yeah, absolutely. Get ready for, well, quite a ride.
Definitely. We're talking comebacks, controversies, moments that, really made history for these teams.
It's great to be diving into these tournaments. Honestly, if you think you know high-stakes competition, well, July just gave us a masterclass.
Yeah.
We saw these incredible stories play out.
Like what specifically?
Well, you had last-minute winners, tense penalty shootouts, even those weird uniform controversies we'll get into. These weren't just games. They felt like, defining moments for the clubs.
Okay, so our mission today, give you the ultimate highlight reel. We're picking out the key plays, the game-changing insights from both the men's and the women's sides. We want to show why these matches were, well, more than just sport. Lessons in resilience, strategy. So let's kick off with the men's side. Looking at that bracket, what sort of jumped out at you about the structure of the tournament?
What was really fascinating, I think, about the men's competition this year was just the format. Only 8 teams in the group stage. That meant the knockouts just leaped straight into the semis.
Wow, okay. No easing in then.
No, none at all. So from the absolute first whistle, every single match basically had the weight of a championship decider. No room for error, high-octane stuff right from day one. It really pushed teams to their limit immediately.
And what a start we got. Let's unpack that first semifinal. You had Matiz from Encoats against Nulukwaru from Eastern Nubia. Nulukwaru, they look solid, right? 2-1 up, clock ticking past 90 minutes.
Yeah, you could almost feel them thinking, okay, we've got this.
Exactly. But then Matiz's left winger, Kenga, finds this amazing equalizer. Just incredible. And you'd think, okay, that's the peak drama right there.
Far from it. That match just, well, it spiraled into pure chaos. It really showed how quickly momentum can swing in that kind of pressure cooker.
So what happened in extra time?
Once extra time started, it wasn't just frantic. It was almost like a psychological collapse for Nulukwaru. Matiz, totally fueled by that late goal, they just found another gear entirely.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they scored an astonishing 4 goals to Nulukwaru's 1. Just in extra time. The final score ended up 6-3. It was a complete, almost baffling turnaround. Just incredible resilience from Matiz.
Okay, now what makes this really interesting is the other semifinal. It almost mirrored that finish, didn't it? Minense, also from Encoats, against Kozini from Mahiri.
It did, yeah.
Locked at 1-1 until the 89th minute, a real stalemate. And then, boom, Mansplit finds a late winner. Suddenly, you've got this electric all-Encoats final.
Right, and this immediately brings up a big question for the region, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What does this all-Encoats final really mean?
Yeah.
You had Matiz on one side, remember last year's runners-up.
Right, they lost to Paradens, another Encoats team.
Exactly, so they were desperate for their first international title. And then on the other side, Manse. They'd already won it back in 2023.
Going for number 2.
Going for their second, yeah. So it wasn't just high stakes. It was this fierce local rivalry playing out on the biggest stage. A real battle for, regional bragging rights.
So after all that build-up, that regional pride, how did the final itself, Matiz versus Manse, actually play out?
It was much tighter,
Yeah.
more tactical than the semis. A real contrast to the goal fests we'd just seen.
Okay.
Both teams got a penalty, both converted. So 1-1 at the end of regular time. But unlike the semis, extra time didn't bring a flood of goals. You could see both teams were just exhausted. Cautious.
Waiting for a mistake, maybe?
Pretty much. Waiting for the other to blink. It became this really tense, sort of probing battle of endurance more than anything.
Yeah, in those situations, high stakes, fatigue setting in, it often comes down to just one moment, doesn't it? A bit of brilliance or maybe a costly error. Who broke the deadlock?
It was Matiz, actually,
Yeah.
which was maybe a little surprising given the fatigue, but they had, to be fair, maybe slightly more of the ball. They stayed patient, waited for their chance.
And it paid off.
It did. They finally found that opening, got the goal, the title winner.
Yeah.
It's Matiz's first ever international title, which is huge for the club. And crucially, that win gets them into next year's Elite Cup.
The big one. The continent's top competition.
Exactly. That's the premier club competition, the best teams from all the regions. And this is the second year in a row an Encoats team is qualified, so it really cements their region's dominance right now.
Okay, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the Women's South Challenge Cup. Their journey started a bit earlier, right? From the quarterfinals.
That's right.
Before we hit those huge semifinals, were there any standout performances or storylines starting to build in those early rounds?
Yeah, there were a few interesting things. CEBA From Upper Dayome, they looked really controlled.
Yeah.
A solid 2-0 win over COPACCHAI kind of signaled their intentions early.
Okay.
Then AME, also from Upper Dome, they had a much more open game, 2-1 against Riachuelo, more back and forth. But the real drama, the bit that maybe set the tone, was Santa Maria the favorites from Encoats against the underdogs, Natakala ladies from Mahiri.
What happened there?
Natakala showed incredible fight, held Santa Maria to a draw for 90 minutes, then deep into extra time. Santa Maria only broke through right at the end. That kind of resilience, even in defeat, you just love to see it, pushing a top team all the way.
Absolutely. And those results perfectly set the stage for some, well, truly epic semifinals. You had clashes of titans, those deep local rivalries.
Definitely. And the first semi, that was arguably the biggest derby in Upper Dayome, CEBA versus AME. Huge local pride on the line. But this one started with controversy before ball was even kicked.
Right, the uniform incident. It seems like such a small detail, but in a derby like that, it can become a whole psychological thing, can it?
Oh, absolutely. It added this unexpected layer of pressure. The confusion was, well, the official bracket listed CEBA's name first, just because their quarterfinal was listed earlier on the schedule.
So they thought they were the home team.
Exactly. They reasonably assumed they'd wear their main claret kit. But then COPACCHAI clarified later that, no, the criteria wasn't bracket order, it was group stage performance.
Yeah.
And under that rule, AME actually had the slightly better record. So they got to wear their red kit, forcing CEBA into a last-minute switch to their white second kit.
So CEBA playing their biggest rivals in a huge semifinal, wearing their away kit. You know, if I were their coach, I might still be annoyed about that, even after winning. Did it throw them off at all?
You'd think it might, wouldn't you? It's the kind of disruption coaches hate. But honestly, it almost seemed to galvanize them. Despite all that pre-match fuss, playing in the white kit, CEBA absolutely had the last laugh.
They put in a performance.
Oh yeah, dominant performance, beat their rivals 2-1, totally deserved to go to the final. It really showed their focus, their mental strength under pressure. Like their identity was about how they played, not the color of the shirt.
Okay, impressive stuff. Now let's talk about the other semifinal, because this sounds like it belongs on some kind of blooper reel and a highlight reel simultaneously. Ukatabi Elite, big favorites, against Santa Maria. Walk us through this one.
Yeah, this is where things get genuinely unbelievable.
Yeah.
A story with more twists than you could possibly write. Ukatabi Elite started like a house on fire, dominant.
Yeah.
Raced into a 2-0 lead inside the first 10 minutes.
Wow. Game over, surely.
Looked like it. Everything seemed set for them to just cruise into the final. They were playing with confidence, executing perfectly, looked totally in control.
Football, right. A 2-goal lead, sometimes it's a bit dangerous. What happened? How did this game just completely flip?
What happened next?
Yeah.
Well, you could only really describe it as maybe the worst 5 minutes in football history for Ukatabi Elite. Just a catastrophic meltdown.
5 minutes. What went wrong?
Okay, so first, their forward, Kitty Zaman, misses a penalty. A chance to go 3-0 up, probably kill the game.
Okay, badness.
Then, almost straight from the keeper's save, they get caught on a super fast counterattack.
Yeah.
Leads to a desperate foul, red card, down to 10 players.
Oh, no.
And then, to make it even worse, right after the free kick from that foul is taken, the ball ends up back in their box somehow, and they give away another penalty.
You're kidding me. So, missed penalty, red card, concede another penalty, all in about 5 minutes. For Ukatabi fans, that must have felt like an absolute nightmare.
Crushing. Absolute crushing.
Beyond just being a player down, how did Santa Maria capitalize so effectively? Was it just taking chances, or did they change something tactically?
It was a masterclass in exploiting chaos, really. Yeah. Santa Maria saw Ukatabi were reeling, psychologically shattered. They immediately pushed higher up the pitch. Their striker, Alana Coyote, showed amazing nerve to score that second penalty.
Right, that got them back in it.
Yeah, and from that moment on, they just systematically used the extra player, found the space, controlled the game completely. They eventually turned that 0-2 deficit into a mind-blowing 3-2 victory. It's just an incredible story, seizing the moment, and a really harsh lesson for Ukatabi about keeping your head under pressure.
So after all that unbelievable drama, the final is set. CEBA, fresh off winning their derby against Santa Maria, riding the wave of that incredible comeback. How did the grand finale play out? Both teams must have been running on fumes after those semis.
Well, the final between CEBA and Santa Maria, it started with a bang, actually. Just like you might expect from two teams with that kind of momentum. Really open early on.
Goals flying in.
Yeah, quick fire goals.
Yeah.
It was 1-2 within the first 25 minutes. Looked like we were in for another goal fest. But then things really slowed down.
Why do you think that was? Nerves? Fatigue?
Probably a bit of both. The sheer exhaustion from those crazy semifinals must have kicked in. And maybe the weight of the final itself. It became much more cautious, less free-flowing in the second half.
Yeah, it felt like after that initial burst, you thought, okay, maybe one more goal, tops. The energy just seemed to dip, became more of a waiting game.
And that's exactly how it went. It was Santa Maria who found that one decisive moment. Scored a third goal, sealed the title.
Wow.
It's their first Challenge Cup title, which is massive for them. And maybe even bigger, this win gets them back into the Women's Elite Cup.
Which they know well.
Exactly. They've got a strong history in that competition. So it really caps off an incredible season for Santa Maria. Resilience, determination, and just grabbing those opportunities when they came.
What an unbelievable set of games. Just packed with more twists and turns than you could possibly script. From Matisse's crazy 6-3 semifinal win and their emotional first title.
Yeah, huge moment for them.
To Santa Maria surviving that worst 5 minutes and pulling off the comeback. These South Challenge Cup finals, they really delivered unforgettable drama.
They really did. And I think what these finals show, especially with that COPACCHAI Super July format, isn't just general sports drama. It's how that specific high-stakes, rapid knockout structure just magnifies every single moment.
Right, the pressure is immense.
It becomes this intense test of pressure management. One tiny administrative slip-up, like the kit thing, or one 5-minute lapse in concentration. It can completely change a team's whole season. The Matisse comeback, the Santa Maria meltdown and recovery, they weren't just flukes. They felt like direct results of a tournament designed for instant peak performance, exposing how fine that line is between success and, well, disaster.
So what does this tell us? You, the fan watching, what's the takeaway about performing under pressure, maybe even for situations outside of sport?
Well, yeah.
These games are just such a powerful reminder that every single moment can be a turning point. And that ability to adapt, whether it's to a dodgy uniform decision or a nightmare few minutes, that adaptability can truly define a team's legacy.
And it really makes you think, doesn't it? It raises that classic question. How much of winning at this level is just pure talent, raw ability, and how much is that mental strength, that fortitude to just endure when things go wrong, to keep battling when everything seems stacked against you?
Definitely something to chew on.
Yeah, something to ponder as you look back on these incredible competitions, and just remember the human element at the heart of it all.
That's all we have time for on today's deep dive into the COPACCHAI Super July. We really hope you enjoyed this look back at some truly epic football. Until next time, keep digging deeper.